In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a partial swing frame in an industrial cabinet. You need two part numbers. One is the swing frame, and in this case 2377060, and the install kit 2377860. Install kit's going to be based on the width of your enclosure. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to take some clip nuts. We're going to insert them into the frame. Now, if you can do this with your fingers, that's fine. They tend to be a little sharp at some points. You could also use a pair of pliers to do this. You just want to make sure that the internal nut is flush with the frame. This will help aid your installation. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the top rail or the top bar. And now that we've got the clip nuts into the frame, we just simply install the M8 bolt through the bar and into that frame section. And we're installing the swing frame in a forwardmost position, so we're able to use the frame. A little later on, I'm going to show you how to do this within the frame section and not utilizing part of the enclosure itself. So now we're going to take care to do the other side. And I've already installed the plastic backstop that's going to be on this piece. You can do that either once you've got it installed or after. It depends on your preference there. Okay, so in the instructions, how far do we measure down after we put the first rail in? How far do you come down before you put these blocks and then the rail? Well, it kind of depends on if you're going to set the bottom rail on top of this block, or in this picture, if you're going to put it under the block and attach it. So that again becomes a personal preference. To do the measurement, you're going to go from the top of the bar, which basically is the bottom of the frame here once it's installed, H11, and I go to my part number 2377060 because it's a 600 wide enclosure that I'm working with. So at H11 it gives me 408 millimeters. So from the top of this bar down to the top of this bracket should be 408 millimeters. Now over here, if I'm going to install the block higher so that the rail inserts underneath the block instead of on top, if I'm going to install it underneath, then I look to H12. H12 over here is 301 millimeters from the same position, the top of the bar, down, and that's where I put that block. So that's what the instructions are trying to show you. Another way you could do it is just once you install the top rail like we've done here, you could just insert the swing frame, hold the bottom bar up here, and then just put your bracket into the frame and either mark it or go ahead and screw it into place, and then you wouldn't have to measure anything. There is some adjustability. That's what these small little blocks are. It gives you the ability to tighten this up or loosen it once you have it installed. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and measure from the top of my rail down 408 millimeters, because in this installation I'm actually just going to install the swing frame on top of the mounting block or that combination bracket. Again, this is just a matter of choice. Why would you want to choose one method over the other? Well, it might be a little easier install to mount the swing frame on top of the mounting block, but by sliding the block up and mounting the frame underneath, it would be a little cleaner install. It might give you some more usable room in the enclosure if you had to do cable management or other types of installations within the rack. So it's totally up to you how you want to do this. Again, the measurement for each is in the instructions. So using the small insert into that combination bracket allows me to line up with the self-tapping screws on the proper holes. Now later, if I need to make some small adjustments, I'm talking millimeters of adjustment, what's nice about that insert is I can back the screws out just a little bit so everything slides and I can make an adjustment, and doesn't allow basically disassembly of what I've already done. Then I'm just going to go back by, so actually I'm using an extension on a 13 millimeter socket. You can go back by later with a ratchet and tighten that down a little tighter if you choose to.
Now once I've got everything set up, I'm just going to go ahead and slide the bottom pin up on the swing frame. Get it over the whole location, slide it down. That just helps seat it into location. And then I'll slide the top one up into its whole location. Just give it a little twist. It should be able to hold itself in there okay. Then I'm going to come back by later with a flat blade screwdriver and then just tighten each of those pins down. You don't really need to over tighten anything. So just get it where you can feel some resistance or it bite, and then you know you're good to go. Now this is a 6U swing frame. So for 19-inch rack mount equipment, I can install 6U worth of equipment. 1U is 1.75 inches of vertical measurement. That just allows you to put that much equipment on that swing frame, and we sell them in various heights all the way up to a full height of the cabinet if you chose that much equipment. Since this is a smaller swing frame, I can close it and lock it down with one locking location at the top. If it were larger, then eventually they'll have 2 locks or so. It's just double bit key, double bit insert, and I can swing it out of the way to get to my panel mounted devices in behind that. Now the next thing we're going to do is, what if I don't want to install it all the way up? What if I want to put my swing frame down lower? Or what if I don't want it all the way forward, yet I want it back a little bit? That's the next installation that I'm going to show you. And to do that, we're going to need 2 extra parts, 4375 000s and 8800 330s. That allows me to recreate frame section within the cabinet to mount my swing frame. So all I'm going to do in 4 locations, 2 rails at the top and 2 rails at the bottom, is put my chassis, that's my 4375s, onto the combination brackets that are in the frame. And this is just wherever you choose to install this. Use your threaded block and your M8 bolt to hold all those together. And then the tabs are actually designed to break away to make it nice and clean aesthetically, or to make sure that it's not going to interfere with any part of your installation. Okay, so now we have installed a partial swing frame in our industrial cabinet. That gives us the ability now to mount 19-inch rack mount equipment or other IT gear in the same space. So I've got my mounting panel, I have my partial swing frame. Now in order to do what we've done here, which means I'm not putting it all the way forward, nor am I putting it all the way at the top where I can utilize this frame structure, you have to kind of create that. And so what I've used is 2 additional part numbers. 4375 000, quantity 1 is a pack of 4 chassis, and then combination brackets, those are 8800 330s, and with those 2 additional part numbers, now I can do a partial swing frame anywhere within the frame structure of my TSA.